expanding your world.
Start now, and we'll hope that our other shareholders will join us as we go along. If you look at the short program of events, we're supposed to start with the introduction of the bank management as well as the shareholders represented. But I think before that, we should actually start by committing the day's short event into the hands of the Lord and thanking Him for bringing us all here. So I'd like to ask, if you don't mind, for Ambassador Alex Timothy to give us an opening prayer. Proceed to introduce the senior management, the executive management that are here to you. I'm going to start from my right hand side at the extreme. We have Mr. KK Agiru, is the DGM in charge of Business Optimization Division of the bank. I have Ms. Ariola Koladaisi. She's a GM in charge of retail banking. Mrs. Maki, who is next to her, she's the GM in charge of commercial banking. Mrs. Amaka, who everybody loves to love her. She's the GM in charge of Treasury. I'm so sorry. She's the ED. I'm so sorry. Please, I am not going to I'm not. She's the ED in charge of Treasury, South, East, Edo, Delta, and international funding. Everything about money now we're looking for. She's the person. And the next person is the person we all love to hate. Is the executive director in charge of risk management, Mr. Lotwade. He's the goalkeeper around here. I will skip the stranger that is next to him, and I will go to the last person on my left-hand side. He's a man in charge of our figures, the chief financial officer, Mr. Dele Ogunaisi. Next to him is the ED in charge of South and retail banking, Mrs. Zidiye Ekong. And next to him is the ED in charge of corporate banking and Southwest, Mr. Timothy Okusai. And like the Yoruba people say, Egunlalo and Kegi Ibale. Indeed, Masquerade himself is the group managing director and the chief executive officer. Thank you very much. Oh, I'm so sorry. Well, we know ourselves now. Everyone is good. Thank you very much. I think we should we'll pass the mic around so that on the tables we'll get to know ourselves, or some of us were not strangers to ourselves, but for some others. So
we arranged this interactive session. Yes, distinguished shareholders, ladies and gentlemen, you're most welcome to this interactive, pre-agent interactive session. The objective of this session, this meeting, is to meet with you so that we can take the time to go through the financials for 2012 and also to hear your views, your concerns, questions you have to ask, and so we have all the time to present answers and also take advice and lessons from whatever that the outcomes are. So it's a session that's interactive. It will start with a presentation of the numbers by the CFO, and then it will go into an interactive discussion. And really, just to give some background to it, 2012 was a very interesting year for the banks and for the Nigerian economy. If you remember, we started the year with the fuel subsidy and some strikes, and there was a general slowdown for a few months, and that impacted certain sectors. It impacted on petroleum imports, which was good because now we're importing the right amount of fuel that we need. So that was very positive, but that also had some spiral effects on some other services as well. The other thing that were quite interesting that came up were the cash light Lagos that was introduced, and the increase in the use of electronic banking platforms instead of carrying cash around. So that has had a positive impact on banking and on customers as well. And we've seen that there's been an increased penetration in electronic banking used by a lot of our customers and the industry as a whole. Then we had the cash reserve request regulation tightening in July by the central bank, where they moved cash reserve from 8% to 12% at unprecedented level. And that immediately increased the cost of funding and tightened the level of liquidity in the system. And that impacted on a good number of banks, including our bank. And but we've all adjusted to that level now, and really the policy thrust was to stabilize the exchange rate at the time. And so the overall benefit of that policy thrust is being felt in that we have a stable exchange rate, and that has been able to maintain the level of inflation we have and impact on the economy positive. For the rest of the year, competition amongst banks went on very well. The impact of insecurity is also something else that in the course of the year is being felt. There are certain parts of the country that businesses really has gone comatose, and though the impact is not so great, it has impacted on cross-border businesses and reduced the level of imports and the demand for manufactured goods that hitherto were being supplied to these areas. So that too has impacted on business generally and the economy. Against this background, we were still able to show an improvement in all our and some respectable level of growth in all our indicators, but be it from the level of revenue to our profits, which came out at 16.5 billion. And we're also happy to announce that we're able to pay a dividend of 50 kobo, which comes out to a dividend yield of about 8% on our share price. So that in itself is has been welcomed by shareholders accordingly. And so we thank you for investing in SkyeBank and your continued patronage and commitment to our cause as a leading financial institution, and we believe that we will continue with your support and support of other shareholders not here and other related interested persons and organizations. We will continue to grow the bank from strength to strength, and that 2013 will provide a much more improved performance than the level we are taking in 2012. Thank you very much.
Good morning, distinguished shareholders and executives of the bank. I present to us the financials of the bank as of 31st December 2012. The GMD has given the overview and the banking landscape during the last financial year. So without wasting much of our time, I will go straight to the figures. On this slide, you can see we rank 8th in terms of total assets. We've hit 1.073 trillion, and on deposits of 780, we are number 8.
Yeah, they can see. Because of that, they can't see.
And on deposits of 790 billion, we rank 82 among the first 10 banks in the industry. Now, the highlights of the financial. The bank had a gross revenue of 127.7 billion in the last financial year against 102 billion of 2011, by giving us a positive variance of 25%. This is on the backdrop of an increase in the daily activities of the bank during the financial year. The non-interest income, a drop of 5% from 26 billion of 2011 to 25.38 billion in 2012. The 5% came from a dip in trading activities, in investment of treasury. The loan book grew by 11% to 540 billion in 2012 as against 46 billion of 2011. Now, deposits, I already mentioned, grew by 22% to 790 billion. Then our loan deposit ratio dropped from 79.3% of 2011 to 71.5% in 2012. And our net interest margin dropped a bit. That's on the backdrop of what GMD has explained, the pressure on the income last financial year from 6.7% of 2011 to 5.4% in 2012. Our PBT increased for variance of 41% from 2.8 billion of 2011 to 16.5 billion of 2012. This is the effect of IFRS year of reporting. The 2010 was restated with the opening figure for January 2010. Then 2011 too was restated with opening figure for 2012. So that's the effect on the IFRS reporting. Then our PAT of 1.3 in 2011 increased to 12.6 in 2012. Our earnings per share then over 2011 to 95 kobo in 2012. Our return on average assets 0.2% in 2011 to 1.3 in 2012, which we hope will do better this year. The return on average equity 1.3 of 2011 to 12.2% in 2012. Then on our operational efficiency, of 42 billion we incurred in 2011 was down to 40.2 billion in 2012. That is savings of 5%. That could be attributed to the various cost saving strategy or initiative that the bank embarked upon, and we shall continue to drive that to further drive down the operating expenses. Then our cost to income ratio improved from 59% of 2011 to 57.6% in 2012. In terms of our asset quality, we had an NPL of 28 billion in 2012, an NPL ratio of 4.9 in 2012, is still below the 5% regulatory requirement, and we shall continue to sustain that in the subsequent years. Then our coverage ratio was 93.9% in 2012, and our cost of risk is 2.3. Then our capital strength, our capital adequacy ratio was 16.9% in 2012, which over and above the 15% regulatory requirement for commercial banks with international authorization. The Tier 1 ratio is 14.6 and Tier 2 2.3, and our leverage ratio is times 10. the GMDR given the landscape, the business landscape and regulatory. Yes. Next slide. The financials. Yeah, this is the balance sheet of the bank. Like I always said in the highlights, the loan grew by 11%, and our deposits too grew by 22% from 645 to 790 billion. Our total assets close with 1.074 trillion. Yeah. These are bridge income statement 2011 vis-a-vis 2012, and the various growth down to PAT of 12.644 billion as against 1.3 billion restated IFRS version of 2011, we gave A73 positive variance. These are revenue generation of gross earnings from year end of 2011, comparing interest income vis-a-vis non-interest income for Q1, half year, third quarter, and 2012. For year end, interest income was 101.03 and non-interest income 26.7. And the component of interest income will have the loan, advances, placement, and interest securities. From 2011, then quarter on quarter to year end. Then our gross earnings, you can see public banking contributed 49%, retail 10%, and commercial 41%. And non-interest income mix, that's commission and fees and other income. Comparing 2011 year end, then quarter on quarter till Q4 of 2012. And with the COT that the fast disappearing from this year 3 per mil, next year 2 per mil, and 2015 1, then by 2016 we off. These have been adequately taken care of, as most of the customers enjoy COT of below 3 per mil already. Then you can see our non-interest income, then our cost interest bearing liabilities, which they move from year end of 2011, quarter on quarter till Q4 of 2012. These are evolution of our expenses from last quarter of 2011, then quarter on quarter to Q4 of 2012. Our cost income ratio localized from 59% of 2011 down to 7.6% in 2012. Then our PBT and PAT from 2011 Q on Q, that's quarter on quarter, to Q4. That's from 16.51 in 2012 down to 12.6 for PAT in 2012. And now ROE from 1.3 in 2011 up to 12.2 at the end of 2012. And return on average assets from 0.2% in 2011 quarter on quarter to 1.3 at the end of 2012. Earnings per share and dividend per share, NGAP and IFRS, 50 kobo and 40 kobo. That's it. These are funding structure, deposits. Our funding structure contributed largely to our bleeding point in terms of interest expense, as deposit mix tilted to term deposits. But this has been addressed this year to ensure that they will have more of DDA, demand deposit accounts and savings accounts to lower our cost of funds. And these are customer deposits from Q1, from year end of 2011, 645 to 790 at the end of 2012. Yeah. Okay, these are risk-weighted assets. These are the capital adequacy, where we close with 16.9, which is well above the 15% regulatory requirement for commercial banks with international authorization. Our liquidity ratio, we close at 37% as against 30% required by CPL. This analysis of our loans, these are these segments and sectors. Well, for risk management, the bank has put a lot of structures in place to further strengthen risk management of the bank. You can see the organogram there, with the board at the end of affairs giving oversight function. That 2 departments have been created in the risk management group that with analytics and compliance risk to ensure that we have good quality risk assets in the bank. Like the Company Secretary said in our introductory message, that the goalkeeper, the risk is here. Next. Our NPL for 2012 was 28.1 billion distributed across this sector. Outlook for this year, 2013, like JFG and Register, is to optimize our return on the average equity, deliver exceptional customer service, and our brand awareness and our cost leadership will be strengthened. Yeah. For 2013, considering all the pressure on the income of the bank, increase in the almost sinking fund from 0.3 to 0.5, COT going away, we are still promising to deliver a return on average equity of 22%. Then ROE, that return on asset, average asset of 1.5. Net interest margin of 6.5 as against 5.4 that we did in 2012. The cost to income ratio will ensure that we strengthen our cost strategic initiatives to bring down to 55%. Then we tend to grow loan by 15% and deposit by 25%. Thank you.
Just a review just a financial review of 2012, and I think you touched on some of the things like that in 2013 as well. At this point, we'll go straight to Q&A and take questions. We'll start from the screen, right?
And the executive directors. I want to say that for you to be able to gather us or call us for this purpose, I know a lot of has been done by you. To be a driver is not easy. When you are driving or you are a footballer, to score goal is not easy. But for some of us that are spectators or that watch the ball, we can easily score goal. It is very easy to criticize, but it is not easy to really be at the driver's side. The result we are looking at, I want to say, I commend you for being able to produce this result. Despite the fact that we know that the environment is harsh. Then I want to say again that you have done a lot despite the harsh condition. But one thing that is very general in life is that there is always room for improvement in whatever you are doing. There is nothing that is static. So you keep on improving. I want to ask we shareholders to give the board a round of applause for what they have been able to do by giving us this report this year. Please also thank you very much. Having said that, there are a lot of things, so some of the things will have said have been highlighted by the financial director. But however, I want you to look at area of funding. I will start with that. The area of funding, like he said, is like the major source is time deposit, which is very, very costly. I want to advise that the bank should look at the area of savings and current account, which has less interest, to be paid to the customer. Even though the CDS we can be paying interest on current, but the bank don't pay interest on current account. So we can look at that area and drive our current account so that we'll be able to have cheap funds from there. I want to ask about the penalty that we have this year, though I know a lot must have been put in place to ensure that we don't pay penalty again. But I think some of the penalties are what can be avoided if care is taken. I want the bank to please look at that area so that we don't continue to pay penalty to the central bank. If that penalty is part of the profit and this is given to the shareholders as a dividend, will have been more happy. I want you to look at the donation. The donation aspect catches my attention, and I try to look at those that benefited from the donation for the year. To my surprise, I see IFRS as having about 38% of that donation. Donation should have gone to those that really need the money, the less privileged people. Even some of the donations that go to the private company or the private school shouldn't have gone to private public school, and that will be much more better. And then the one that went to IFRS, what is the need for giving such 38% of the total donation to IFRS? I think this is not good enough, because I think they are a regulatory body also. Their compromise is there. To me, it's not a good expenses. Then on top of, though we mentioned it, part of the income is COT. And now since COT is going down and probably will fizzle out in some years to come, what are the alternatives of income that will replace the COT? I think the bank should be looking at this area. I think it's very, very important. Then, again, I want to know my interest first. What provision are we making for complaints from customers? because some customers now that do challenge some of the interest the bank charges, and the employer consultant to look at this. You have it in mind in making provision before our profit, so that in future when there is need to pay back the customer, then it won't affect us badly. Do we look at that side, or do we think that the amount of complaint that may lead to reversal of income in that area is not significant? So I want to ask what the bank is doing in this regard. And before I drop the mic, I have to say again that what interests shareholders is the dividend. I'm looking at the notice of the meeting. The item is there because it's only once in a year we take our own salary. But I tell you that the result is historical. I'm sure probably the first quarter of this year we have given a signal that come 2013, by year 2014, when we are considering, we'll have a better result than this, and our take home will be more improved and better. Thank you. God bless.
Thank you very much. I'll take a few more, but I'll answer this because there are quite a number. And also, you don't have. Okay.
Thank you, sir. MD and CEO of our bank and other management staff, fellow shareholders, ladies and gentlemen, I say good morning. My name is David Adeleke, the National Coordinator of Esteemed Shareholders of Nigeria. It gives me great joy to be a member of this bank, which performed and runs presently by our bank. We want to say that it's very present. You have done well with the dividend of 50 kobo per share. I say congratulations. The net assets of the bank stood at 106 billion from the previous 97 billion naira, an increase of over 10 billion, that's 62. On pages 60 and 61, you will see the profit and loss accounts and comprehensive income statement, which shows a significant increase and robustness of bank profitability. On the overall, it has been a good result. We commend you. Thank you for
this way. My name is Tunji Bamidele, National Coordinator of Starlight Shareholder Association of Nigeria Incorporated. My chairman, I have few observations. One, I need to commend you for excellent performance, the board and all workers in general. And God will continue strengthening you, and God will continue to be with you. My observation based on page 111, that's 111, on administrative expenses is good, it came down, and at least it shows capitalization of the profit. God will continue to be with you. But area of donation, sir, donation in page 52 is good. But I want to ask my MD, we don't know the offense we committed in your state in particular. We have 3 serious calamities. 1, flood. 2nd, rainstorm. The 3rd one, the fire. And we don't see your hand or your reflection. Please, in the area of that one, we want to see you to assist people that is in need. God will continue to be with you. Dividend is good. So also on the area of contravention, page 112. Area of contravention, sir, particularly the B, D, and E. There's a particular thing I noticed there. on contravention, the DE in particular failure to obtain, DE failure to obtain CBM approval for promotion of 11 senior officers. I think if some kind of thing happen, I think it's a bedrock for the contravention we have here. Because when people are not regulated or given the due promotion at a particular period, it can weaken them. And I think there will be a shortcut. That is immediately on the area. People that is due to the promotion, please give them at appropriate period. God will continue to be with you. And coming to the area of investment, property and association, we need a little explanation. And on related party transaction, page 132. On related party transaction, in fact, it is impressive. And I love one thing on the IFRS compliance is transparent and total disclosure. Really, he gave all the loan given out are performed. And we thank you for this. And sir, I want to appeal on issue of dividend payment. I want your bank to accept the shareholders to allow them pay to the saving account. To reduce dividend at least unclaimed dividend. Thank you, God bless you.
Other members on the high table, Ohula Peter is my name. I congratulate the bank for this result, but we expect more than what you have produced. I've gone through the reports and I was able to see one or two things I would like to ask a question about. The first one, in your notice, you need additional money. No explanation whatsoever. What is the purpose? Because I've not had enough time to go to the reports. After that, your corporate governance, no dates for the meeting, and one director, I think, Yile or something like that. Yile. It's not doing fine. They look at the governors here. They say, the attendance not good enough. The respect of your related parties. We need to watch very well. Without borrowing, you cannot get. But most of the banks that were no more today, it was caused on these related parties. We need to be watchful because when they are the board, they are the coalition. Whenever there are no more on the board, kata started. We don't want this type of situation. So let us be watchful about the related parties. In respect of subsidiaries, what are we doing? Are we selling part of them? Or we are not selling? We are taking on. Like the branches of subsidiaries, you have sold them. Page 117, professional fees. I need a better explanation. Your contravention is on the high side. We should be watchful because that amount is rather on the side. And the auditor's remuneration also on the high side. From 130 million to 56 million. It's rather too high. Thank you very much. God bless you.
Who happens to be the GMT. My name is SkyeBank. One more time. First of all, I want to take some very, very interesting dimension in the banking landscape of this recent time. First, some of us like to take a poke at either the CBN or SEC or Nigerian Stock Exchange because of some knowledge differentials. One that in fact is the one of the Financial Reporting Council, which everybody likes to take a look at the bank for donating for the IFRS Academy. I think it's matter of looking for. I think maybe the GM will be able to enlighten us more. Because basically, we see it as a capacity building. If you don't have development of talent, you are going to produce better results. I think we shareholders, I took this particular position despite that because it's getting nauseated about some of those things we are saying. If you don't know it, ask. And if you are better informed, try to spread it. I think the church will be here today. Outside friends here. One of them, first of all, is this annual report itself. Please, when we come here, we take our responsibility, we have rights, so also we must have responsibility. We take that responsibility, we have a sense of responsibility that we require. Please, I don't mind. If you give me this annual report yesterday, and I will spend the whole night looking at it, so that I will have better contribution here. Okay? And the essence of us coming here is to be able to add value to this gathering. I sympathize with the GMD. The GMD came in about 9:35. That is 5 minutes behind the time we are told. But I think that is still a great leader. Because I know so many of these people in the city who are not around. Okay, at that point in time. If some of us left our home by 6 a.m. to be able to make that appointment, it will be serious enough. It's serious business. Please, when I'm looking at the report itself, I want to concentrate on the area of the growth level and the dividend policy. Because we are paying a dividend of 6.6 billion, translated that into 50 pounds. People will be looking at 50 pounds per se. But the work that has gone into it because of the quantum of share that needed to actually leverage that. So when we are going for growth, let's look at this in high place in terms of the growth level as well as the staff. Because at some point, driving the staff to ridiculous extent or rate, and at the end of it, look as if they are not performing. They are doing. And that's what the MD has stated at the last financial year was really a fiasco for everybody in this country. And we don't respect whether we sit there and criticizing the health sector, and we are still failing it because of the vital. So it's a serious work was done, and we appreciated it. And we wanted to add to the branch network. If you want to, the money you are raising and you are looking at the branch network to be able to mop up deficit, the interest. I don't know when to be talking too much about the financial because I'm not ready. And just I look a better context of what to be used. Without the private and confidential when it is circulated, people are close for us to talk, and that's how we see it. The report is the GMD and we are sending that message. Let them look at better way of really addressing us and presenting their effective management to drive them. So if they are not enacting very good policy, what are they going to drive the bank? So this one makes a lot of difference. I want to tell when they want to give the receipt, whatever, is a deceptive. Make them people to go to the first time forward, where we can get receipts on time. What are these things? Because
my DMD and the able executive management of the bank. Once again, I am Daily Joseph. I am happy to be here, and I know that the fact that the management and the board of the bank have called for forum is an indication that you really, want our contributions, especially those things where you feel there are areas where improvement should be taken or implemented. But I want to commend the management of the bank for the 50 kobo dividend you are giving. We understand the terrain is not all that friendly. The economic environment is not all that friendly, and yet you are able to give the 50 kobo dividend. More power to your elbow. But I want to say that some of us exercise some fears, and the fears is hinged on the sustainability of that dividend. Because we have read these financials, even though it was not circulated earlier, the little we are able to pick from the financials, we have been able to see that there is still much to be done by the management of the bank. What I have seen here, I stand to be corrected, that the bank has just crossed the balance sheet to 1 trillion size. And because I am part of the several consolidations that has been on in the banking industry, especially since 2005, coming to trillion size balance sheet now, for this size of this bank, for me is nothing to be celebrated. It's nothing to be celebrated. So I look at it that though the bank is growing, but the growth is too infinitesimal. The growth is not as expected. Well, some people say what concerns shareholders is dividend. But I choose to differ a bit from that. Because if you collect dividends today, what is the hope that dividend next year will be guaranteed? Let me go a little bit. I will start from your contraventions from page 12, page 112. And why I am very much particular about this is because of certain things that were, written there, especially the contraventions, not the money that is involved, of non-disclosure of 83 million in the last year financial statement. It still bothered me because I know the executive management of the bank owes the fiduciary duty to shareholders. And if we carry your annual report all about, and CBN is telling us that 83 million was missing in the last year financial report, which you did not report, then it will be very hard for us to believe any financial report that is calculated to us. It will be very, very hard. And on this platform, I go further to say that if you look at Citibank, the same offense was committed by them, and we know what happened to the management. So I want the board to look at this. At times, you may not have a robust dividend, but if you play your duty, the fiduciary duty that is required by law to your shareholders, we will know that you are trying hard in the system, and yet one day you give us the required dividend. So if CBN is giving you contravention on this, it's giving us the wrong signal. And several things you will be telling us that we will not be able to believe. When the financial controller was giving us the indices as per the statement, when he has made us to understand that the bank is growing. So certain things, certain ratios were reduced, certain ratios were increased. But how do we believe this? Since we have this background of what CBN is saying as contravention, it's very hard for us to believe. Now, if you look at page 62 again, I look at your loans and receivables from customers, and I look at the liability aspect. I look at the customer's deposits and other deposits. I look at the variances between these two. The variance between these two is not much. It's not much, and I'm beginning to get worried because, and that's part of what gives me the indication that the bank is struggling to survive. So I want us to look at when you have said that you are coming to raise additional 50 billion capital. Fine, but even this 50 billion capital combined with your tier 2 capital, can it take the bank to where you intend the banks to be, if we are to be realistic? Because I have seen on page 137, 138 that all through the year they are either borrowing from either local bank or foreign banks. So I want us to sit down critically and address this, because if I go back to, if I want to be a bit tribal, fine. SkyeBank is a combination of several banks, especially the Yorubas. And it's a bank we should be proud of. It's a bank we should beat our chest up and say, go to SkyeBank, this is what is happening. We can be very, very much confident of the operation. So I want this gathering to be a gathering where we will go back and rethink and see how we can strengthen the operations of the bank. Because to whom much is given, much is expected. The assets, not on contravention, I want to say page 62 and 63. The assets to liability ratio is not encouraging. I want us to watch that. Well, we have seen that even our deposit is much more of demand deposit. By virtue of our standing, but by virtue of what we claim to be, it is much more expected than us. You said here in this report that the bank's capital adequacy ratio is 16.9, which is a little bit above 15% required by CBN. If by tomorrow CBN comes up with another policy of 20%, where are we going to be? Where are we going to be? That's why I said most of our indices are very close to the required standard of our regulators. And a government may come tomorrow that will not know Joseph and will change policy. So I want us to look at this and take appropriate measures. I'm still trusting that our board and management, we are very capable. Yes. We can do it. Let us put aside all distractions. Let us face the banking business to the core. CBN is coming up with policy. Now they have said you should be using out your COT. And COT has been a major source of income to some banks. So if COT is no longer there, where are you going to get your revenue? Your interest income? Do all sorts of business, and we trust that God will help you. Thank you very much.
Board of Management of SkyeBank, the fellow distinguished shareholder. My names are C.G. Small Olatunji from Integrity Shareholder Association. I must commend the Board of Management for organizing this forum. And I think in this kind of forum, I've always said that this kind of forum is a town hall meeting where issues and all the gray areas should be totally addressed. So I'll be precise, but I give my sincere opinion concerning the SkyeBank situation. Looking at this, I just got this account less than 5 minutes ago, which borders on the corporate, that is the corporate governance. And I have seen pages of this paper where the issue of CD and what have you has been addressed. I'm putting it onto the company secretary that the law has not been changed. If it is too expensive for you to do a bulky and a glossy annual report like this, you should go for newsprint. It will cut on our cost. That is for the issue of corporate governance. Then looking at this bank, the board of management, you have not feared at all. The truth must be told. Because if you look at this account, we have done the share reconstruction. And what we are giving on, I think that we have not reconstructed your shares. I mean, maybe we will have given on maybe 15 to 20 cover, which is not a par of what is obtainable with your other fellow bank, which are in the same peer group with you. And I will write on the last speaker on the issue of the contravention. The issue of the contravention is mind-boggling. When we have to pay the whopping 157 million, and the one that's most annoying, which is very, very, very serious and very, very concerned, and this is what led to Citibank of America, where the investors have to challenge the bank that they have misled them by classifying a risky asset to be of very good value. This is very, very, very important. And I think that we saw this thing, you know how to go about it, because this issue borders on criminality. Because if you can hide a very serious contravention from we, shareholders and investors, that means you have misled us. That means the corporate integrity is no more there. Yes, the market is very tough, but come to us, tell us this is what is happening, open everything to us, we can accept it for what you are. According to Sanusi, he said it's not a sin for you to make a loss, but it becomes a sin when you lie about your losses. And this is what SkyeBank have done here. You have lied to us by concealing a contravention. Then this bank is not growing the way we expect it to grow. It's growing stunted growth. It is growing stunted growth. I'm repeating it. If you can do SkyeBank a whole 5 years to cross 1 million balance sheet, it's 1 trillion balance sheet. It means the bank is struggling, and every now and then the bank is always in the interbank market borrowing. That means we don't have the capital adequacy is nothing to write home about. The single obligor limit, if you check the single obligor limit, it's just a fear above what the CBN said. Look at the efficiency ratio, the cost to income ratio. I mean, nothing to write home about concerning this account.
Nàìjíríà says tí alágbẹ̀dẹ bá ń lo lójú kan náà wọ́n fẹ́ fa nǹkan yẹn ni, and that is what makes me and that's what makes me go to your contravention. My belief is that we should have a compliance officer in the bank who will be looking at almost everything. So that is my advice. Secondly, Mr. Chairman, if you look at that page 112, you will see KMN. If there is no contravention regarding this, if there is no penalty, why is it written there? So let us watch it, because this annual report we're going to place it. And Mr. Chairman, I want to compare pages 111 and 112. I want you to enlighten us. Look at the last item on page 111. CBN penalties 139 million. So you have to enlighten us how you come about that. Mr. Chairman, on page 112, particularly contravention 84 million. 84 million. If this is true, if I'm permitted, I will want to assist the bank to challenge the CBN or other regulatory, yes, on this matter. Mr. Chairman, I want to join others in commending you for the result. Even though there are controversies, we still thank you for what you have given us. I am equally concerned looking at page 152, and that has to do with litigations, contingent liabilities. Mr. Chairman, is there any way we can reduce or avoid these litigations? I want you to look at that area and assist the bank.
Shino Ashebe said, my name is Honorable G.A. Anono, the shareholder. Mr. Chairman, Shino Ashebe said, a baby on his mother's back doesn't know how far the journey is. So you getting 1 trillion. The thing is an easy job. 1 trillion. I know Yoruba says that I did the regulators are devising ways to get money from where they did not work. And if you write a statement and you refuse to dodge it, they will charge you. Why didn't you dodge it? And place the penalty on you. Mr. Chairman, I thank you for this shareholders forum. I come to say thank you for the excellent results. I call it excellence in view of the fact that when I look at the environment in which this bank operated for the year. Don't forget that Lagos said that there are some one side of this country that they are being placed under emergency movement right now. And how do you think that banking can flourish in those areas? Our branches are there, but they are in emergency situation where everyone there's a checkpoint. You want to go to bank deposit money or withdraw money, you will pass through no less than 30 checkpoints before you get to your banking account. Mr. Chairman, the club I belong to will come to see Oshibubo. And that club is the Karakata club. Those are the people who have traded on your shares. Where Mr. Nono is the general secretary of that club. We come to say thank you. Because in terms of capital appreciation, many sir, have made money apart from the dividends we are giving to them. The dividends, again sir, last year we gave 25 kobo. This year we have given 50 kobo. The university is ìjọba wa kéré kájẹ kéré. Ìjọba wa wọ̀ kájẹ wọ̀. Ìjọba ìbá sì ká kúrò fọ́nà wọ̀ bàbá bàbá wọn. Mr. Chairman, a baby on his mother's back doesn't know how far the journey is to hit 1 trillion. I believe that even though when you come to do a right issue or a public offer, if the shareholders who collected the 50 kobo refuse to patronize you, I, Mr. Molo, I will tell the members of the Karakata Club that SkyeBank the sky is our limit in regard to return on our investments. Mr. Chairman, I stand to advise our subsidiary on page 127. On that page, sir, let us see how well those we place to manage this subsidiary are managing it well. Because at the end of the day, it will become the bottom line of our profits. And the bottom line of our profits is that Mr. Nodo will be looking at the dividends of not 50 kobo come next year. I'm looking at the dividend of 80 kobo or 1 naira next year. The company secretary opened her mouth. Yes, I believe you can do it. Use your hand to hit your chest to say, yes, I can do it. If I can hit 1 trillion under this condition, I believe come next year, we'll be talking of Ejikobo. The Bible says, ask and it shall be given. You have not asked, you are jittery, you are checking. Ask and it shall be given. You will be surprised. And believe, because the Lord said that in our house there are many mansions. In our investment in SkyeBank, there are more dividends coming on our way in Jesus' name. We want to see, let's see how we can expand to areas we have not been and encourage people who are there. I also want to tell you again that we should look at the introduction of products. My handset number is an account with the bank. My handset number. He said, no, what is your account number? I said, my handset number is an account. Yes, this is the name of the bank. Get the right government and write my handset number. That is all. We call it flash me cash. You can say, you can put it in your own and say, cash me cash. Mr. Chairman, I also see account like school fees account, products like school fees accounts. Because when it comes to that school fees period, you see many parents, their people will get high. Especially those who are having children in the higher institution. But you can flush, you can design a product. If you leave your money, so amount in our account for so period, you will be able to pay the school fees direct to the school. In the minds of many parents will come down, sit down, go and think about it, go to your drawing board. Think about the school fees account. There are many of us who are parents here, who their children are in secondary school, in the higher institution, and SkyeBank will give many parents a rest of mind when it comes to that. Yes, I'm sure that yes, my son, my daughter's school fees is settled.
Other executive members of the family, very distinguished fellow shareholders. My name is Nonna Awo. I am at difficulty really as to what I should be asking. But I think that going forward to make this forum much more useful to us as shareholders and to the bank, we should probably just give a general guideline of position of what we have done and why we have done what we did. And where possible, I will also be appealing to fellow shareholders to leave issues that have to do with the annual account. Otherwise, we'll be duplicating the AGM, and I don't think it will help us. Secondly, I also think that it's important that we realize that to be invited here as a shareholder is a privilege and not a right. In that line, there are also certain things that you can also interact with rather than say them in the way we've said them, because some of us don't even understand. With due respect, on some of these we're going to see quite a number of us will not be able to read this account. And even if we read them, our understanding may even be far more limited than where we are coming from, because things are much more complex now. You're going to find one leg somewhere, and then the following location you find that the leg has been cut. Hakuna Matata, 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 Hakuna Matata,
quite a number of self-funding, and that's why we're still trying to grow our cheaper funding and through our retail platform, and that takes time. Also, in the last 2 years, retail and cheap funding has also grown by almost 60-70%. So there is growth in that area, only that the loans grew faster because we wanted to capture more business. And so that has worked well in that way, but at some price in terms of cost of funds. So that is being addressed. We're quite aware of that. We've slowed down at the rate of growth of loans, new loans, and we're looking at growing cheaper funding. So this year we should see much cheaper funding filtered through, which should improve our profits. One of the profit drivers for this year is cheaper funding. So that should flow through this year. There's been a lot of questions on penalties, and I would like to address that on page 112. First of all, the central bank has held a regime of sanctioning every little infraction, and we do millions of transactions every day, so it is very difficult to escape any type of infraction. But I will take the first item, contravention of tax guidelines or disbursed funds. Now, there was a customer that we took money under tax. Tax is this agricultural fund through BOI. When we took the funding, along the line we disagreed, and his loan was eventually passed on to AMCON. So we did not disburse the funds. Now, under tax, if you do not disburse the funds and do not return it within a very short period of time, they will charge you market rate for it, and they will charge you like they're giving you a deposit. Because instead of them charging you 1%, they'll now charge you a market rate. So what they did was they charged us a market rate. They took the money. So in central bank now came later when they came to audit and said they're going to fine us for it. That was what happened. So they ended up, the 84 million is interest, it's not a fine, on the money we took, which was at about 8%, which is still okay for a term deposit. So, or 7% or so, 7 or 8%, something like that. So the interest was what we paid. So in itself, it was interest on monies we returned, which was in accordance with the tax guidelines. But central bank now said, no, we must do that. They now said, we must also, they now said they will penalize us. We were contesting it. Why should you penalize us? When there is a guideline that is around this matter, why should we be penalized? So in that period, we sent our accounts to them, and they approved it, and we published in 2011 in accounts. So this item B, non-disclosure, that they now said we didn't disclose it again because they now insisted on the penalty, and they said we should now disclose, which we now did subsequently, but they now penalized us again. You see, when you are faced with a man that tells you what to do and you can't dialogue with him sometimes, you face their wrath. So that is what happened. We had a customer, if we had given him that money, we would have lost over 1 billion. We would have lost over 1 billion. We were giving him that money. But we refused to give it to him at that time. We sent him to AMCON. Or 2 billion, yes, it was even 2 billion. So they said, for the period we kept, we will refund that at an interest rate, money market rate, which is the 84 million. So the 84 million itself is interest, it's not a penalty. So that is what happened. Now, the other two items that are significant here, D and E, relate to, before this the Sanusi regime, there were people who were promoted in 2007, 2008, 2009. AGMs and above, ideally you need to get central bank confirmation on approval. Somehow this was overlooked in plan. So they said they were going, so they just came all of a sudden and said they were going to penalize us for everybody that was promoted in that area. So we've learned from that, and that's why and I know several other banks too got that same problem. Because what they now did was they went back to and they now started looking at fine details, and they said, no, we're going to do this, and we're going to do that. So that was what led to those penalties, and they will not recall. And if you take those out, you'll see that the penalties are extremely minimal. So it's an unfortunate circumstance that led to us having all that. So I think I've explained the issue of penalties very well. The first one was interest. It's not really a penalty. We got penalized because we went back to central bank. They approved the accounts we published. They approved it, and still came back and said they are penalizing us for not including it. You can't publish accounts without central bank approval. So that was what happened. The next thing is the IFRS donations. As an industry, bankers committee, I think somebody said it that basically, I think all banks donated for this because it's new, it's supporting positive development in that area and all that. So basically, it's as an industry, we all donated, all banks donated to the IFRS Academy, capacity building and supporting a new way of accounting, and it will impact positively on not just the banking industry, but for listed companies and other companies as a whole, and for the accounting profession. So it will strengthen the capacity building process in that area, which is still new, and like some of you say and see, the way the accounts are now are very different. I myself am a chartered accountant. I'm still learning. I've had several trainings on this, but I'm still learning. And so it's something that in farming, that I've done all this before from an accounting point of view, is finding some difficulty. That support can only help grow that area. There's something on COT going down. Well, I knew 20 years ago that COT one day would go out the window. But like all things, when something goes, it's only when you are thinking about it, or at the time of when you are thinking about it, that you feel it. Once it's gone, and you move on. So we believe that part of what COT, not just COT, the new guidelines to bank charges as well, what it's trying to do is improve financial inclusion, get more people to do more transactions, get new people to come into banking, either at the MSME level, at the micro level. People will be less mindful of bank charges and operate more through electronic platforms as well. So if that happens, it means there'll be more money coming into the business, there'll be more velocity of transactions, and banks will also still have ways of charging some other fees. So it may not be at the same level all around, but we believe that it's something that is inevitable, been inevitable for years, and we have measures to grow volume and find ways of compensating the loss not just on COT but other fees that have been removed. So that is something that we will adjust to as an industry and SkyeBank. There's a provision for complaints of customers on bank charges. Some comments saying that it's not significant. So I think that's just for mentioning. The notice of the meeting, maybe the company secretary. First of all, I'd like to apologize for the late delivery, or for those who we tried to get everything worked out. and we had delays. We sent directly to a lot of people. I'm sure quite a number of people here got either a soft copy or something well ahead of time. And the company secretary can, I think he needs to address this.
Thank you very much, shareholders. I would start by apologizing, definitely, because as you know, we try very hard to get this thing. But maybe if I have a bit of explanation of how the process goes for people like Ambassador Timothy who are familiar with printing and all of these things. In the process, we're working with both the auditors and the CBN, and quite typically until the very, very last minute, we don't get, they keep making amendments and corrections and all of that to the print proof. So we can't get them out. Meanwhile, we've already sent out notices of meetings and all of that. So we're working 24 hours and all of that. And if we don't get a final sign-off on the final copy from both the auditors and the CBN, we cannot print. We cannot print them and send them out. So that is what, as a matter of fact, for some people, we actually had to run out printed copies from the computer. I think I sent one such copy to Mr. Awu and a couple of other people when we saw that we were going to be slightly late. So we do apologize for this. We'll keep trying to work with them to impress it on them, the need for them to be under the kind of pressure that we are in ensuring that we get whatever we have we need from them to conclude quickly. Thank you very much.
Yes, I'll apologize again once more time. What would be good is if we have email addresses. So we have that. We can always send advance copies directly. So that would be very good. A soft copy directly to you. That would so that would go. I will be outside of the normal process. You get it sometimes. There was a mention of donation to Oyo State, and that will be noted. But there's a lot we're doing right now in Oyo with regard to infrastructure development. A lot of the infrastructure development is being handled by SkyeBank. So most of the things you are seeing, the value chain development in Oyo State going on today, are mainly by SkyeBank. So we're doing more than donating in Oyo State right now. There's a question about some properties for investments. These are properties taken over from Sky Mortgage. So just to let you know, they are good assets and they are properties taken over from Sky Mortgages. There's the issue about new capital, and I think it was mentioned by several people, and I think I should just address it from various points of view. If you look at SkyeBank as a tier 2 bank, our share capital is between 100 and 510. Most tier 2 banks are above 150 billion. So we are working off a much smaller balance sheet, where our balance sheet is about 1 trillion, which is I don't know. So we're leveraging about 10 times. Leverage in the industry is more between 6 and 7 times. So we're stretching our capital much more than the other banks, and it makes us more vulnerable. So obviously, and also our ability to keep growing the business can also be constrained by the level of capital we have today. So there is a need to take in capital, new capital. What we're doing right now is taking debt capital, tier 2 capital. We are seeking permission to issue the Tier 2 capital, we got the approval 2 years ago. We're seeking approval to do Tier 1. The timing we have not agreed on. We have not said we'll do it this year or next year. We are working, we're going to talk to some advisors. We're also looking at it in-house and talking to shareholders and other investors as well. The timing may not be very good to do it right away, but we feel that there is a need to move the bank to the next level. The capital prepares us a lot. It gives us, if we can, between Tier 1 and Tier 2, we can raise between 50 and 70 billion. And we're already operating at 100 billion. It gives us a lot of scope to grow our business. It gives us a lot of budget, a lot of extra ammunition that we can use to build on and grow our business significantly. So we have not done anything yet, but it's something that we also will have to look at. Even if we want to do an acquisition, and grow inorganically, we need capital. And those are issues that are coming to reckoning now, between now and next year as well. So those are the things that, moving the bank from the way it is now and propelling it to be a bigger and stronger bank. Capital is key. Growth is also very key, whether it's organic or inorganic. And so there are a lot of strategies for 2013 that we're looking at. And for 2013, we believe that in terms of performance, some of the constraints of 2012, whether it's the expensive monies, measures are being put in to take care of that, and also growing our business in a way that we can generate more income, which is consistent. And we believe we can do that. We've done that. We've been able to sustain our growth every year. And the year where, we're doing better than the last 2 years, even though the competition has increased, it's increased for everybody. The market is still there. We believe we have good penetration. We're very strong in many areas. I just mentioned earlier that we're doing a lot, and we're doing a lot of business in there. And we've turned nearly all our branches to be profitable. We're scoring very high in that area. So the concentration after setting up a non-core subsidiary is to focus on the commercial bank, getting a lot more new business, develop our channels and our platforms, reinvigorate our retail bank using retail products, and I believe that the business will continue to grow and possibly grow at a faster rate. Additional capital will support this on. We're investing in new technology, hardware, software for IT, which is also needed, faster processors, which is also needed to support the electronic platforms that we have and produce better service. So there's a lot that is being planned to grow and sustain our business, and we believe that we'll be able to sustain and grow our dividends as well. We've been through the hardest time to pay dividends, albeit a much lower amount. So we feel that from where we are, we'll be able to grow our business and continue to sustain it. There's the issue of the attendance of Mr. Binay. The board is addressing that. It's also come up in our own corporate governance review, and that is being looked at, and the board is addressing that as well. Related party borrowings. I think our corporate governance framework processes to put in place, and our risk management process too is ensuring that and then also the central bank regulations around related party transactions, full disclosure, and how it's not a bank that's dominated. If you look at it from the banks that had those problems, they were banks that were dominated by one person, and usually an insider as well. We don't have that scenario here. And there's full disclosure. All the loans we have are working very well. So, and even if a loan goes bad, because the loan can go bad, it will be that something we saw, and it wasn't a loan that we would have been a loan that on merit would have been able to get from any other bank. We sold all our non-core subsidiaries. There was a question on subsidiaries. So that has been sold. There was a question on professional services. We use a lot of professionals all the time for various things. Okay, loans to analysis of loans. So loans to professional services. That is a classification. Is loans to any other sector. Okay, because the next thing I saw was auditors' remuneration here. Mention of auditors' remuneration. I think the auditors, you have to pay them well, and their fees are competitive. There's a process we go through to review, compare, and recommend, and the board approves it. So, and really, if you look at fees in 2012 compared to 2011, you see a correlation between the amounts, and the increase is not very significant. There was a question on our growth model and dividend policy, whether and that our report is what I think this was from Mr. Gwenga. I don't know what to say about the Water report, but this report is produced in accordance with international standards, and we also have a lot of global investors who have reviewed content of this report, and we met with over 30 or 40 of them last week, and I think Mr. Nono spoke about products. We have a bouquet of products, and I'm sure that we'll be seeing more and more products as we go along. We have a bouquet of products already, and we have those for school fees and all sorts. Then, Mr. Awo will note the issue, what you said about the presentation of the annual report. I think the company secretary has taken note of that. I think I gave some small, on the outlook for 2013 on what we should expect. When I spoke about the capital raise, I think I've addressed those two. On arbitrary charges that vary from branches, what would be good is to get a specific, a specific complaint, a process that we go through, on that. But we will also look at what we charge internally and see that there is consistency across the branches. The size of business from Lagos State. The thing about Lagos State is that Lagos State is a very big state, and they require many bankers. And everybody claims ownership of Lagos State. But we believe that we get the most significant share of Lagos State business, and they also give us a lot of support. So, and our share of the business of Lagos State would probably be in excess of 50%. And we also bank nearly all the local government. So we have a very decent share of Lagos State. But it's competitive, and we always have to fight to keep it. I think I've answered most of the questions. The company secretary will also say one or two things. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your interest and patience. I just wanted to mention something about Mr. Abdini Tuketa. Indeed, as you noted, that during the last year his attendance at the meeting was not a little low. That was not deliberate, and it was completely out of character for him. He had some personal challenges which the board understood, because we are all humans too and all that. And in spite of not being able to attend some of the meetings personally, he contributed, he participated at the meetings, most of the meetings, by sending in his comments, sometimes on the meetings, and making his position known and all of that. But this year, by God's grace, I think he's better able to attend the meetings now. Besides, the board is also looking at, everybody's going global in technology now. So the board is looking at situations where, if for any reason a director is unable to, any genuine reason, as in his case, a director is unable to attend 1 or 2 meetings, he can still nevertheless participate, maybe electronically or in that other way. So I'll create the understanding of directors, of shareholders it's totally out of character for Mr. Finney. He's one of our very, very diligent and committed shareholders, directors. Thank you. Brings us to that brings us to the end of this segment. We haven't finished because there is lunch. Like we said, this is a family meeting. It's our opportunity to interact more and get to meet with ourselves. Some of us haven't seen each other for some time. But I would, as we have lunch, I think they would organize us how we would have the lunch, maybe from the rear, table by table. But I would ask that you please excuse some of the executives, I think the GNP and a couple of other executives, because there is another program that has been scheduled, a business meeting that has been scheduled right after now, which was why indeed we had to have this meeting at 9:30 this morning instead of afternoon that we normally would have had it. So thank you very much for your kind understanding. We started with prayer. I think it would be in order for us to also thank God for helping us to come to the end of this meeting. Maybe we can ask High Chief Anono to... Okay, all right.